Hey everyone, Matt here from VapeRev. In this week's EDU, I'll be demonstrating how to rebuild the 3D by Atmomixani. For this build, I'll be using a dual coil with cotton wicks, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a good understanding of how to build, use, and enjoy your 3D. So here we go! Before I begin with the rebuilding process, I'm just going to walk you through the materials and tools you'll need. You will need some scissors or snips, some needle nose pliers. Of course, you're going to need the 3D, and since I don't have the 510 adapter for it, I'm running it as a hybrid with my Nemesis mod. Two 6-inch sections of Kanthal, and for this I'm using 28 gauge. Two pieces of cotton, and for this I'm using Celu cotton, which is also rayon. Of course, you're going to need your e-liquid, and I put a needle top on this bottle, which makes it easier to fill the tank. A drill bit to wrap your coil on, and for this I'm using a 7/64 size drill bit. And a Phillips head screwdriver. Before I actually get into building a wick and coil for this, I'm just going to highlight some of the nice features that the 3D has. On top right here you have your adjustable airflow ring, which can adjust for single or dual coil builds. And one of the unique features that the 3D has is it's a dripping atomizer that also has an e-liquid reservoir on the bottom. When you press the top cap, it compresses the tank and forces e-liquid up through a hole that's on the atomizer deck, and it resaturates your wick without having to manually drip onto it. So if you remove your top cap here, you'll see that it has one positive post in the center and two negative posts on the outside. All of them have Phillips head screws. And then right here you'll see that little hole, which is the opening for the e-liquid reservoir. Now I'm going to move on to actually wrapping the wick and coil for this. And since I'm going to be using a dual coil build, I'll have one coil sitting on this side and one coil sitting on the other side. So to get started, I'm just going to take my drill bit. I'm going to take one section of Kanthal. I'm going to have the Kanthal on the underside of the drill bit with a couple inches excess coming out the top right there. And I'm just going to start to wrap my coil. Got the first one. So I'm just going to turn the drill bit as I'm laying the wire down. So that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, and 7. So once I get the wraps done, I'm going to actually attach it to the posts. I'm going to have the positive lead going counterclockwise and the negative lead going clockwise around the post. So I'm going to actually attach the negative side. Tighten it down. And for the positive side, I'm just going to have it wrapped around, and I like to take needle nose pliers and just kind of pull it tight, because you're not going to be able to screw the post down until you have the other lead attached. So we'll leave it like that for now. I'm just going to take my drill bit out. And I can go ahead and wrap my other coil. Use my other piece of Kanthal here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. And now I can attach this to the other side. So same thing, the positive is going to go counterclockwise around the post, the negative is going to go clockwise around the post. So just get that negative on there. And screw the post down. Then I'm going to take my positive lead. Do the same thing. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to get it crimped around that post pretty well. And then what you can do is you you can actually just hold these leads like that and screw down the positive post. Alright, so I like to just check my leads just to make sure they're tight. That one's good. That one's good. That one's fine. Yeah, so they're all good. All attached. So I can remove the drill bit now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test fire them and just get the wraps of my coils a little bit tighter together. So you just want to pulse your button, just do it rapidly, don't hold it down. And we're just going to heat the coils up and then crimp them together. And then do the other one. So they look like they're glowing pretty evenly. That's what you're looking for. You want each coil to be lighting up pretty evenly with the other one. So that looks pretty good. So now we can just take the excess wire off. Alright. I'm just going to adjust this coil like this a little bit. Alright. So now we can go ahead and lock your device again. Now I'm going to go ahead and thread the cotton through the coil. So take your cotton and twist it to get it as thin as it possibly can be. You want it so it fits snugly through the coil. So once you get one end, then you can continue to twist it. And what you want is a little bit coming out on this side. And then you want to untwist it, and you want a little bit of the cotton going down into the drip well, and that's going to absorb the e-liquid that's pushed through that feeding mechanism. Get it so it's snug. Just like that. You take your screwdriver and just kind of fluff it up a little bit, expand it. Just like that. Take the other piece and you're going to do the same thing on this side. So once you get it through a little bit, start twisting it and untwist it to fluff it up. You want enough cotton so that when you give it a light tug, it doesn't just slip right out. So that's pretty good like that. So on this side, you're going to have excess that goes down into the drip well, and on this side, the excess is going to be over here. So what you want to do is take your scissors or snips. And on this side, we're just going to cut this like that. And this, I'm going to cut this one like this. And then you want about that much on the other side, just so it hangs into the drip well below. So just kind of go like that. Go like that. And before I tuck it down, I'm going to put a little e-liquid on the wick and test fire it to make sure that I don't have any hot spots. This also helps break in the cotton a little bit as well. Unlock the device. Go ahead and test fire it a few times. Just repeat this process maybe 3 times. Just kind of get that wick broken in a little bit. So as you can see, there's no hot spots. Everything looks like it's burning pretty evenly. You can tell that both coils are heating up because you have vapor coming off each side. Alright, so that looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck the longer end of the wick down into the drip well below. The same on the other side. And if it's hitting the deck on the bottom of the drip well, that gives it material to absorb the e-liquid as it's being pushed up through that feeding mechanism. Okay, so that's your build ready to go. Now all we need to do is fill the tank. There is a little trick to filling the tank on this. So first what you're going to do is you're going to take your top cap, make sure you align your air holes with your coils. And then what you're going to do is you're going to compress the top cap as you're putting juice into the drip well. And as you squeeze your juice in there, just release the top cap. And this actually sucks juice into the reservoir. And after you do that, you can just put your mouthpiece on. And that's your 3D fully built and ready to go. As your wick gets dry with use, you can just press the top cap like this and it'll resaturate your wick. Alright everyone, that's a wrap on this week's EDU. As always, I hope you found all the information useful and now know how to successfully rebuild your 3D. If you'd like additional information about the 3D or like to purchase one for yourself, you can find it at shop.vaperev.com.